Hi everyone, my name is Chloe, welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you the mid-year book freakout tag. So that was a mouthful of a title, never mind. I was tagged to do this by Chanel at Chanel Time, so thank you Chanel. I will link her video in the description for you if you'd like to go and watch it. You definitely should. But I was planning to do this anyway and she tagged me, so now I was like, I definitely have to do this tag. So I don't really have much more to say than this is my first year on BookTube. I've not quite made it to a year yet, so I don't have a past mid-year book freakout tag to say, yeah, I've been doing it for this long. This is the first time I'll ever be doing this tag, and I'm very excited to then do the end of the year one and see where I've got to and all that good stuff that I missed out on doing last year. So I'm better just get on with the questions because I'm rambling. The first question is the best book you've read so far this year, and that is 5 Feet Apart by Rachel Lippincott. I have read a lot of books that I might have even liked a little bit more than this, but I've already read this twice this year. I read it in February and then I read it in May as well, I think. I've read this twice. It is only little, but it is absolutely gut-wrenching. It's amazing. So emotional. The film as well is gorgeous. You need to watch it if you haven't, but I couldn't pick another book knowing that I've already read this one twice this year. So it's got to have done something right. The next question is the best sequel you've read this year, and I've gone for Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling. So I've currently this year read all the way from Philosopher's Stone to Half-Blood Prince. So Prisoner of Azkaban is not the only Harry Potter sequel I have read, but oh my god, this was amazing. The first time I read this book, it was my least favourite of the Harry Potters. I didn't like it. I don't like the film. It was a chore to read this one, but this time I think I picked up on so much more, being I don't want to say a genuine fan, but since the last time I read this, I've got much more interested in Harry Potter. I've been to the studios, I've done a lot more Harry Potter stuff. I was gonna have a list and it didn't happen. But I've been a lot more invested in Harry Potter since the last time I read this book, and hearing there's a lot more backstory in this, and I picked up on so much more by reading it again, and I just loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I've given all the Harry Potters so far 5 stars. It is no surprise, but it was genuinely such a good experience to read this again. And I think if you haven't reread the Harry Potter books, definitely do it, because you will have learned so much more by everything that goes on in the world now to do with Harry Potter. So definitely read them again. So the third question is a new release that you haven't got round to yet, but you want to. So I don't typically buy new releases, and I'm just checking the date in the book I'm going to talk about because I could be wrong. Yeah, so the new release I actually have in my hand is from 2018, but I was classing it as a sort of new release. It's really not, because when people say new releases, they mean that came out at least this year. But I know this was to the tail end of last year, and the third book has just come out. So that is Legendary by Stephanie Garber. So I know Finale has just been released, so maybe it's Finale that I want to read, but I need to read Legendary to get there, which I will be reading this month, hopefully. My fingers are crossed. But yeah, I know at least my edition is pretty new because I got the cool one. Yeah, I don't really read new releases. I read a lot of backlist stuff, so this is very new for me to even have on my shelf. But yeah, Legendary, reading it this month. So the fourth question is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I've gone for Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. I don't know how you say that name, I'm sorry. But this is the author of The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and he is releasing a new book called Imaginary Friend. This is a massive horror. It's the size of It by Stephen King, I think, about. So it's huge, and he's gone from a teeny tiny little contemporary that you can read in one sitting to a giant horror that will be coming out. I think it is in October. I could be very wrong, but I think it's October. So even as I just said, I don't buy new releases. That is one that is already on my Goodreads TBR because I'm very intrigued. Another book I'm very keen on is, I think it's called Permanent Record by Mary H.K. Choi. It's her second book, and I'll get on to more about her later, but I'm definitely that is already on my TBR on Goodreads, even though I might not actually purchase it this year. The next question is the biggest disappointment so far this year. I'm not taking this as the worst book, just the one I expected more of, and that is Going Bovine by Libba Bray. I did give this book 3 stars, so I didn't hate it by any means, but I just really wanted to like it more. So this is about a boy who gets mad cow disease, and he goes off... I can hear Will giggling. He gets mad cow disease and he goes off on a road trip to save the world. And it was very predictable, and I wasn't very happy about that part, because predictability is the main thing that I will judge a book on. If I guess the ending of something that's supposed to be shocking, then it gets knocked down a star at least. But yeah, this book, you could have cut 100 pages out of it, and I predicted the ending way at the start. So not the best, but I did give it 3 stars, so I didn't hate it. I just really did expect more from this book. Next question is your biggest surprise so far this year, and I've gone for Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. I didn't think the whole Ghibli universe would be for me, but I did really enjoy this book. I gave it 4 stars, and I think that was mainly impacted by the fact it's a middle grade rather than the story, so just the way it's told didn't really sit well with me. But I really enjoyed this, and straight away started looking for the film because the story was really cool. So it was surprising because I didn't think all of that would be for me, but I did enjoy it. Don't really have more to say than that. If you don't know what this is, get looking on Goodreads or watch the film or whatever. We did the Ghibli-a-thon. It was great. I can link it somewhere. But yeah, it was just definitely a good time, and I was very surprised. This is a question I sort of alluded to a couple of questions ago, and that is a new author, so either to you or a debut author, and that I've gone for Mary H.K. Choi, who wrote Emergency Contact. This book has been one of my favourites so far this year. I gave it 5 stars. I got it at the library though, so I can't show you, but I am going to look to buy my own copy. I'd like a nice hardback because they look gorgeous. But this was amazing. This is about a girl who goes to college and a guy who, I can't remember either of their names, I'm awful, and a guy who works at the coffee shop on her college campus, and they become each other's emergency contacts, literally a contact in case of emergency, and it was so cute. I loved it, but I know it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I haven't really heard many bad reviews. Emergency Contact, if you haven't heard of it, please do check it out because it was such an enjoyable read. Since I started filming this video, the lighting has gone dreadful. I'm trying to catch the last bit of sun. But the next question is your newest fictional crush. And I have gone with Lennon from Starry Eyes by Jen Bennett. Brittany from The Neverending Reader bought me this book, and I am so glad she did because I'm absolutely in love with it. It was full-on hate to lovers trope, which is one of my favourite, especially in like contemporaries. And it's a survivalist camping story. So really out there, really random. But Lennon is my new fictional crush. If you've read this, he probably is yours too. But gorgeous story, and couldn't recommend it more, especially if you just like cutesy contemporaries. I realise I've been babbling a lot in this video, so I think that's enough about that one. But yeah, great story, one of my favourites this year. Another favourite this year comes with the newest favourite character, and I've gone for Tourmaline from Done Dirt Cheap by Sarah Lemon. This, I haven't heard many people read it, but it has been one of my favourite books so far this year. I gave it 5 stars. There seems to be a trend here. But Tourmaline is the daughter of the president of a motorcycle club, and it's all about her relationships with her dad, with the members of the motorcycle club, a girl who comes in to infiltrate and see what's going on, but just the way she carries herself. I know she's not a real person. The way she carries herself, I was really impressed with. Her decisions, I was really impressed with. For a contemporary book, she was very like, I can't even think of the word, mature and responsible, but at the same time there was a bit of a bad streak, which made the story great. So yeah, definitely Tourmaline from Done Dirt Cheap. Next is a book that made you cry. I haven't cried that much at books this year. There's been a slight tear at some, but nothing to remember. The one that there was definitely just a noise that I made when I finished it, just like a sob without tears, is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. Silvera. I can't speak. Yeah, very amazing book. So this is about a world where, well, it's our world, but in the future, where you are told within the day, you're told within the 24 hours that you're going to die. I said that really badly, but if you're going to die, even if it's at 11:59, you will be told at midnight the night before, and they will say at some point today, you are going to die. And in this world, there is an app where you can connect with other people who have been told they're going to die, or people who would just like to make that last day special for someone. And it was a gorgeous book. I listened to the audiobook, I listened to it at work, I was crying, people were looking at me. It was a good time when it was a really horrible time. Definitely pick that up if you haven't and you are thinking about it. The next prompt, this is number 11, is a book that made you happy, and I've gone for Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This matches my copy of Legendary. I love it. This is not really the book itself, but the experience I had reading it. So I buddy read this with Brittany from the Never Ending Reader. We have made such great friends through BookTube, and I'm actually going to visit her in October, so this is amazing. But this book, this was our first buddy read. I don't even think we've done another one yet. We're doing more this month. But this book, I think, helped us forge such a friendship where we do literally talk to each other every day. And I am grateful to this book for that. And I gave this book 4 stars, so it was good. The book made me happy itself, but it was more the experience reading it. And I hope Brittany feels the same way. No pressure, Brittany. Next prompt is the most beautiful book that you've bought or received. And I've gone for A Curse of Dark and Lonely by Brigid Kemmerer. This is gorgeous. I love it. And I'm not going to go on about this one too much because if you watched last week's, I'm filming this very far in advance. I think I posted my Newts TBR last week and this will be coming up the week after. Or the other way round. I may have ruined that. Anyway, this is on my Newts TBR as the most beautiful book on my shelves, and I go into a bit more detail about it there, and I don't really want to repeat myself, and that gives me an excuse to tell you to watch the other video. This is a modern Beauty and the Beast retelling, and that's all I'm going to say. But it's gorgeous. Haven't read it yet, plan to. And finally, the last question is books that you want to read by the end of the year. 2 that I've got in front of me, just to quickly talk about, is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. So I am reading this right now. I need to get it read by the end of July for my Harry Potter buddy read that I've been doing. Reading the Harry Potters has been such a great experience, and I have never actually read Deathly Hallows. So I'm currently 4 chapters in and loving it, as you'd expect. But do definitely need to get this read by the end of the month, not the end of the year. Another book that I really want to get read by the end of the year is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. Catherine bought me this. She is over on Bookstagram. I can pop her link in the description for you. But she was such a sweetheart and bought me this for doing well in my degree. So it will be rude to her to not read it. I definitely will be getting on this soon. Another book that I definitely need to get to is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I still haven't read any Schwab. This was brought to me by Lauren from She Is Such a Lauren. Bought for me. My words are going everywhere. But I was so grateful to receive this, and I haven't shown it because I haven't read it yet. I feel like I really need to be in the mood for this book. But please, Lauren, please know that I'm planning on it. I do really want to read it. I just haven't got round to it yet. But yeah, this is definitely on my near future TBR. I think that's it for specific books I really want to read. I do have a lot of unread books that I am dying to get to, but that's just going to be as they come, as I get time, and I'm not bothered whether it goes into next year. But those are the ones I really want to get read, mainly because they were brought to me by people that are very special to me, and I feel rude for not having read them yet. But thank you for watching this tag. I am going to be tagging Brittany at the Never Ending Reader. She said she wants to do this, so there we go. She is officially tagged. And I don't really want to tag anyone else. I feel like I do a lot of tags and tag people and they maybe don't actually want to do them. So if you're watching this and you haven't done this video yet and you were thinking about it, please do it. Because it was actually just quite fun to think of my answers rather than film it. I did that anyway, so we've had my answers for a while now. But yeah, it was definitely fun. If you wanted to even do like a blog entry and just type your answers to this, it would be cool. And I would read it if you leave it in the comments. So again, thank you for watching this video. I really do hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.